Alex Lynn took pole for the second time in a row. Sergei Sorokin is the only driver to do that this season. Sorokin lines up behind Lynn and Nato follows suit. Prema drivers are one behind another with Gasly leading the way. Can Alex Lynn convert his second pole into a race win? Let's find out.
Here we are, guys. We are here with GP2 action back at the Hungarian Grand Prix, the second round of the 3 races we have. Before we get into this, the videos are going to slow down a little bit. I'm remastering, I guess you could call it that, the GP2 and the GP3 cars, and doing all the little nitty-gritty stuff so I could actually upload this mod so other people can use it. But I figured I'd just give a little disclaimer that they will slow down a little bit. They maybe won't be every 3 days, but they'll be there or thereabouts. And then once I've done with all the little graphical stuff with both things, I'll be back to the normal upload schedule. But let's get to the race. Alex Lynn on pole. He is only the second driver this season to get 2 consecutive pole positions back to back, and the last time that happened, the person who was on pole won the race. We are now on the way. We have got Daniel De Jong to our right. We've got Norman Nato just ahead of us. We are actually going to come under a bit of trouble from our teammate Antonio Giovinazzi in our sister Prima Racing car. We're going to hold it just a little bit. We don't want to get any damage or anything. We probably could have lost an end plate on Sergei Sorokin, but we're going to get past Matsushita, who's had an amazing start yet again. That boy is just mad on his starts. He's getting up so many positions, and we did exactly what we didn't want to do. We was too busy looking at Matsushita. We go straight into the back of Sergei Sorokin, and now we are left with no front wing. This is exactly like Spain all over again. So we're going to try and keep a competitive nature as best as we can. But there's actually 2 cars gone off in the background. I believe that was actually Matsushita and Arthur Peak. We'll have a look at that at the end of the race while Josh is talking. We'll be able to see we've got no downforce with this front wing. It's an absolute mess to drive around these corners. We're making light work of it. I mean, it could be a lot worse. We're struggling at best, but you know, we are making some progress. We're coming to the end of the lap because we've got Latifi now behind us, who's just going to absolutely mug us off. We have to run wide so we don't take our teammate out with us. We're not too bothered about Markelov, but we don't want to take out our teammate. We're actually going to make a move on Artem Markelov with no front wing. So, considering it's a GP2 car, the downforce doesn't affect the car as much as an F1 car, which is probably why we're actually doing pretty well. We've only lost 3 positions, I think. We're going to come into the pits now, and it's just been a dreadful start. I mean, it just has. Like, it's exactly like Spain all over again. We just went straight into the back. I want to say it was Sorokin as well. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it was Sorokin. But at least we ain't got to make another pit stop, but we've got to go severely long on these tyres. I mean, it's only, 8 laps, but at the same time, with the tyre scaling, how it works, that's putting the tyres through its rounds a little bit here. But with any luck, we'll hopefully be able to come out in a decent position. We can see we're only P16. 4 other cars have come into the pit. The 2 cars have retired, like I said. But let's see what else is cracking on while we make our way up the field. We have now got Gustav Malia trying to move here on Luca Ghiotto. He's going to have a little look around his outside. He can't really make much ground, but coming up to this corner, it's a pretty good overtaking opportunity. I think we saw a few overtakes there, or leading up to that corner in the GP3 race. We're gonna have a look. He's right up the gearbox here of Luca Giotto. So Gustav Mallet is probably not gonna waste too much time. He's not exactly known for taking his time and being lazy with overtakes, but he's gonna sling it down the inside of Luca Giotto, who has to bounce over the curbs, and that is the Swedish driver up another place. We now have on the following lap, we have Norman Nato going around the outside of Daniel De Jong, but he's actually going to go very wide, so he's going to be under pressure there from Daniel himself. But they're going to go side by side coming into this corner, which is definitely not what you want. But Nato has made the move stuck to our discontent. We do not want him to do very well, but we're moving on to the end of the pit stop phase. Look at all the cars that are coming out the pits. They're all in single file. So we're going to try and see what we could do. We've got Sirotkin, the guy who we lost our front wing to, and we've just about had a good enough gap to hold him off. But sure enough, these tyres will come back to bite us in our bum a little bit further into the race. But it's not been too bad. I mean, P9, we're in the points. At this moment in time, Giovinazzi is actually on reverse grid pole. So if we can nab that or potentially get even higher, that'd be awesome. But obviously there are a few other cars who are still yet to pit. So we're going to actually close up to Giovinazzi so much. You can see we're so much faster than him. I don't know if we can hang it round his outside. We're going to have a better run coming to this corner. We could have a look up his inside, and we do. We don't take out our teammate. We didn't do a Hamilton. But, you know, P8's not too bad. We've got Latifi actually ahead of us. We've got Daniel De Jong, who's, I think he's had his pit stop now, and he's just going to spin his car around. That was actually pretty sick. I'd give you a round of applause for that. That was actually a pretty sweet 360 that he pulled off there. But now on lap 6 of 9, you can see we're in P4, Giovinazzi in P5. We're going to have a look at Nicholas Latifi. We're going to have a look around his outside. We couldn't make this work with our teammate, but we're going to try it with Latifi, and it's absolutely worked. An absolute wonder. So we go around his outside and have the job done before the chicane actually came up. But we now have Sergei Sirotkin battling with Artem Markelov. Sirotkin going sideways with his ART, but he's going to manage to keep it on the road and just about keep it ahead as they get so close. But they are going to come very close. Sirotkin very risky around that line for sure. But again, we now have some more action. It's Marvin Kirchhofer on, I believe that's Mitch Evans, who is one of the championship contenders at this point of the season. So he's going to try and close up, and as I say that, Mitch Evans has just cut the chicane so much. So it's going to give Kirchhofer a nice run on his inside, and he has made that move stick. I don't know how he made that move stick. It was very dangerous. But on the right hand side of the tyre graphic, you can see our tyres aren't exactly in good nick, but we managed to conserve the tyres all the way through, so it would have been a lot worse. We're going to come home in P3. We're going to get just behind Nato and Alex Lynn, who actually won the race. Now, before we go to the next race in the cockpit, I'm going to explain an awesome fact about what just happened there.
Alex Lynn wins the Hungarian Grand Prix on his second attempt from pole in the same sequential order as Sergei Sirotkin won on his second attempt. The second Dams Latifi finished P4 ahead of Antonio Giovinazzi. Sergei Sirotkin placed P6 while his teammate DNF'd. Daniel De Jong managed to nab reverse grid pole. Last time he got reverse grid pole, he won. What will happen in a GP2 sprint race? Let's find out.
So, as I was saying about that, the only person to get 2 consecutive poles in a row is Sirotkin and Lynn. And on both times, on their second consecutive pole, 1, they won the race, and 2, the podium was the pole sitter, Nato and Gasly. I think that's really weird. But we are on the way. We've got Latifi to our left, Lynn, who's obviously behind Latifi now, and we're just going to go really cautiously because we don't want to lose anything whatsoever. We're going to push through here, and we're going to squeeze Sergei Sorokin out, an absolute, and it's kind of out of order, but what we're gonna do, he's actually gonna come back across us and we bang tyres, so he's not a happy bunny. He's actually gonna put us on the grass a little bit. So Sorotkin's moved down the order by quite a bit. We're gonna go round the outside of Alex Lynn, and we're now in pursuit of Artem Markelov and our teammate, who has made it up into P2. But you can see here's a crash that happened at the start of the lap between oh, pardon me, between Jordan King and Raffaele Marcello, so that's not good for them. But we are now on the back of Artem Markelov. You can see we're closing up just a little bit, and I think this could be the first time we've overtaken a car on pure speed alone down the start-finish straight. No DRS. We're going to pull to the right-hand side. We've actually overtaken a car on straight line speed. That is the first time that's happened in this GP2 career mode, which is awesome. But now I said we are back on the tail of Antonio Giovinazzi. I think we have some more action a bit further down the field than we do. This is Luca Giotto on Ericsson. You can see we've actually made a pass on our teammate as well. So we have gotten past our teammate Antonio Giovinazzi. We're now in pursuit of that MP Motorsport car, which is obviously what we need to do. We now got Mitch Evans going around the outside of Norman Natas'. Overtakes are an absolute treat right now. There's so many going off right now, and it's absolutely great to see as we see two teammates colliding. That's Alex Lynn and Nicholas Latifi. Latifi going into Alex Lynn, so he's going to be in some hot water with the Dams boys. You can see we're now behind Daniel De Jong, who's done an absolute stellar job to get to where he is. We're actually just gonna just give him the position back because that was absolutely terrible. I just couldn't keep the back end. The back end on these GP2 cars are so tedious. Like, the second you put some brake pressure down, the rear end's gone. It's still so hard to keep it in a straight line. So we'll be fair to him. We'll give him the place back. We won't take the advantage that we would have gained by losing the rear end and nearly Mario Kart drifting it around the corner. But we're now coming on to the final lap. We're going to be behind Daniel De Jong, and we're hopefully going to overtake him on straight line speed. We have the DRS open. We're going to absolutely maximise the revs. We've already hit the rev limiter coming about 2/3 down the straight, and we're absolutely going to just chuck a dive bomb down. He's going to turn in on us. We're going to do a bit of a Rosberg, what he did in Austria on Lewis Hamilton, but we're going to actually lose the place to our teammate, which is absolutely dreadful for us. So Giovinazzi is possibly going to take the win away from us here, but we're not going to have that. We can't have that. So we're just going to stick behind him and see what we can do on our Italian teammate. Right now it's France v Italy, so it's going to be interesting to see who can come out on top here. We're going to just absolutely do that. We're going to back off again because the back end is just an absolute nightmare in these cars. The F1 cars are so much easier, which is, I think, kind of odd. We're going to have a look at Giovinazzi. We're going to dive so far back, and we're actually going to have to brake on the apex to actually manage to get it down. We've got Sergei Sorokin now on Ollie Rowland, I believe. Or Ollie Rowland's trying to get past Sergei Sorokin. He's going to go wide, and Rowland's going to tap Sorokin into the barrier, and he's going to go back across the path of Sergei Sorokin. So that is them two both out as we cross the line to finish the race in first place. That was an absolute crazy crash. Two crazy crashes at the start of this race and also at the end. But we're going to have a look at this replay. We're going to have a little look in slow motion to see what happens. So before this, Rowland taps Sorokin, and then Sorokin loses control on the grass and actually comes across. It's very similar to the incident that we saw with Kimi and Nico at the Baku Grand Prix. Or Kimi got a penalty, but I think in that instance, because Ollie Rowland did tap the back of Sergei Sorokin, it could be Ollie Rowland that gets a penalty for that. But nonetheless, first and third, that's a pretty solid weekend. Until next video, guys, I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Looking at the standings, you can see we are still on top, and we have been for quite a long time now. We have a 54-point lead to Norman Nato. Alex Lynn with that win in the feature race, obviously helping him out, an absolute treat. So he's 71 points behind us, which isn't too bad. Nobuharu and Matsushita scored his teammate for some company. Only 4 points between them. Mitch Evans, who had a less than average race, I'd say. That's to be polite. In 6th place, Nicholas Latifi, overtaken soon. He will be overtaken by Antonio Giovinazzi without a doubt. You've got 2 Rapex boys keeping each other close on Bottle by 1 point, and you have Luca Giotto, who is on the same points as Arthur Peak, and Daniel De Jong also joining the party. So that is 4 drivers separated by 2 points, which is absolutely crazy. Looking at the constructors, on the other hand, Prima kind of stretching the lead a little bit away from ART, 60-point difference. BAMS is looking to probably overtake ART, so ART are having a nightmare of a season at this point. They deliver in the feature races, just not in the sprint races at all. Racing Engineering on the 139, so that's 10 points behind DAMS. Campos, Rapax and Russian Time all following suit, with MP Motorsport, Trident. It's going to be difficult to see who they're. Trident, I think, will be able to get on top of MP Motorsport. Carlin on 18 points, and obviously Arden International in the final spot.